What's up, everybody? So we got some new Ghost Recon. This was Ghost Recon Breakpoint gameplay and details. Um, I've never really been a huge fan of Ghost Recon. I remember purchasing Ghost Recon Wildlands, but I never got a chance to really play it because the people I was supposed to play with never brought the fucking game. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Marcus and Louis, motherfuckers. But I am a huge fan of Rainbow Six, Vegas 1 and 2. Um, I didn't really play. I played Siege here and there, but for me, what I liked about Rainbow Six, the whole franchise, was just that you were able to put your back on the wall. I know it sounds very minor and petty, but man, that one little detail I used to love about that game, man. When they took it out of Siege, I was like so mad and disappointed that they did that shit. But I probably would have brought Siege if they still had that mechanic, but they just did away with it. So this time we got some Breaking Point. Let's see how it compares to all the other recons that are out there. Maybe might go ahead and buy it. You never know. Let's see how it is.
Ghost Recon Wildlands released just over 2 years ago now, in March 2017, and if you were watching the new Ghost Recon reveal last night, you'll have been treated to a whole timeline of Ghost Recon games going back as far as 2001. Of course, this reveal was all about the brand new game, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is going to release this October. On the surface, if you only saw a snippet of the gameplay, you'd be forgiven for thinking that it looks quite similar to Ghost Recon Wildlands, and that would be quite accurate, but Breakpoint takes what was good about Wildlands and improves upon it, and adds brand new survival mechanics that change up the game quite dramatically. So this game is set in the Aurora Archipelago, somewhere in the Pacific, and it's the home to a very large corporation called Skell Technology. Skell makes all kind of advanced technology, from home computers to drones and automated war machines, and unsurprisingly, the latter, it's a bit of a threat to, the world. Cue ghosts, cue rough landing, cue survival on a deadly island. Now, when I was watching the reveal and saw the island, the very first thing that I
This
thought
looks pretty good though.
is this a battle royale game, just because of how big the island looked. It may only be a relatively small island, but in the context of this game, it's a massive open world environment that has multiple biomes such as dense forests, deserts, snowy mountains, and casual active volcano.
Fuck.
So the game is set in the near future, and because of the island you're on, run by a very advanced...
Get this man an icy patch.
You can expect a lot
Or
of
icy hot.
expensive advanced gadgets, enemies, and crazy vehicles. One of the biggest changes this time around, though, is a real focus on survival and tactics. The way that your character moves is much changed from Wildlands, and the movement to and from cover is far more fluid. Leaning and using the cover mechanic is also quite smooth, but it's not just the animations that have been changed. The animation system is meant to convey a sense of struggle and weight to your character that can have some real implications. For instance, you can do some really cool CQC takedown animations on enemies, and yeah, they looked awesome. Not only that, but these will change depending on your character's melee weapon and how they're initiated, a bit like Battlefield. So if the player is prone, or standing, or crouched, or up against a wall, the animation is going to look a bit different. As well as that, you are going to need to keep an eye on your environment, because if you're going down steep terrain, your character is going to start sliding, or if you trip, could be rolling down if it's too steep. I was getting some Lone Survivor vibes from the trailer. Not only that, but if you've got a downed friendly and they're perhaps in an awkward spot to heal them, well, you can pick their body up and move them to a safer place.
That's very dope.
Game we know that's going to have soldier dragging in. That works for enemy soldiers, by the way, as well. So if you're trying to do a mission stealthily, you can pick up enemy soldiers' bodies to stop the rest of the camp being alerted if they are discovered. So all of those animations are also linked to the new damage system in the game. In Breakpoint, your character can get seriously injured if you sustain fire or damage, and this could lead to your movement being severely limited and even carry semi-permanent injuries that will affect your ability to shoot.
This looks great.
The way that you can improve this is by healing with bandages, but if you don't have any bandages, you're going to be in a big spot of bother. As I understand, there are 3 stages of player damage, with the third one being the most severe, of course, and if you get to that stage, it can inflict some serious negatives, like not being able to sprint, use primary weapons.
I mean, this reminds me of like the Division, pretty much.
It's a lot more hardcore than Wildlands was, and
Just
you may notice
better.
that the HUD is quite minimal here too. I hope that that's not just for the trailer, and that moves over to when the game releases. This time around, things like rations, bandages, and medicine can all be crafted, and you can do that at your tent, or bivouac as it's called in the game. I'm going to stick with tent though, because I don't really know how to pronounce bivouac correctly. I'm just a stupid Englishman. At your tent though, you can make camp, which can of course fast forward in time in case you wanted to attack a certain camp at night time or in the sunrise, and then you can rest, heal, etc. This is definitely a departure from Wildlands, and it offers up something new. In fact, Breakpoint also allows you to eat and drink, and while you're not going to have to drink every 10 minutes like DayZ or something, a classic survival game, getting dehydrated is going to lose you a few combat bonuses, so it's worth keeping on top of. There are some really interesting new gameplay mechanics here too. One of them I'm calling Predator Mode. If you go prone in a muddy area, you can use the prone camo to partially conceal yourself with mud. I'm not even sure how effective it is, and let's be honest, most of your body is still sticking out, but it still looks damn cool, and you're basically Schwarzenegger at this point. I think this means that some of the enemies you'll come up against will be quite deadly, and hiding and stealth will be the best call of action most of the time. There's
It's a nice
also
little
the
feature.
ability to use a fence cutter to get through chain link fences, which is something that was strangely missing from Wildlands. In fact, a lot of the changes you see in Breakpoint, they say, are as a result of community feedback on Wildlands, and the developers were keen to point that out. They see Breakpoint as an improvement on Wildlands by adding in features that the community felt were needed. The body pickup mechanic, for example, is a very important one when you're asking players to choose stealth over a gung-ho approach. Now, it wouldn't be an interesting game if there wasn't some serious enemies on the island, would it? This time around, you're up against some big competition in the form of ex-Ghost Cole Walker. Cole is the leader of a group of ex-Spec Ops or Ghosts called the Wolves, and what's interesting about Cole is that if you played the most recent Wildlands DLC, you actually got to play as him in a mission called Operation Oracle, and that gives you a direct link to the new game, whereby the character has gone from ally to antagonist, which is pretty cool. Also, did I mention he's played by John Berthnell of Punisher fame, amongst plenty of other
What?
I feel like he's a perfect fit.
I didn't know that he was in this game.
This type of military tactical shooter.
The Punisher.
Of course, much like
Oh
Wildlands,
shit.
you can play Breakpoint with up to 3 friends, and this seems to be the best way to play it. I quite liked Wildlands when playing it with friends because of the crazy things that you could get up to and find. That being said, if you wanted to play alone, your game would be filled with 3 AI soldiers to give you a hand. That's not going to be the case in Breakpoint though. Ubisoft has said that they wanted to play up the lone wolf dynamic for those players who wanted to go alone, and as such, if you do choose to play on your own, you're absolutely going to stay on your own. Although I do think with these kind of games, playing it with friends in a group of 4 would be the most fun and ideal situation. Even if you are on your own, you're going to have an arsenal of abilities and weapons to help you. In Breakpoint, you can pick to play as one of 4 classes, with 2 of them being announced so far. Sharpshooter, which of course is the long-range sniper class, and Panther, which is much more of a stealth class. Sharpshooter allows you to utilize special long-range ammo, and you can reload faster when using long-range weapons. Panther, on the other hand, lets you utilize...
This is like a more in-depth Division
like the
game, I feel like.
Now, in the reveal,
Ooh,
Ubisoft
get
was
popped.
really impressed with future content, because Breakpoint is going to be the first Ghost Recon game with raids. Okay, raids. And from the brief clips that they showed, they look kind of awesome. Of course, maybe Division 1 with the incursions and Division 2 getting raids for the first time, although not released yet. And that's the sort of content that I think allows
Still
more
not
teammates
released.
to really have to work together, and that's what makes these sorts of games engaging. I mentioned earlier that I enjoyed Wildlands, but a lot of the missions weren't all that exciting, and there really wasn't any benefit to going in silently, as it was just so easy to take out enemies when you were playing with 3 others. So I hope in Breakpoint there's a real sense of urgency and difficulty, where you've got to really think about how you're going to approach a mission and really coordinate with your friends. I want a challenge in this kind of game. And for those players who really enjoyed PvP in Ghost Recon Wildlands, which was added quite far down the line in fact, don't fear, PvP is going to be in Ghost Recon Breakpoint in the game at launch.
Really?
And Ubisoft have promised that character XP and progress is going to carry across from solo, co-op, and of course...
And you get XP too?
No more on that though at the moment. I don't think we really know if it's going to be 4v4, maybe 16 players, 32 players. We just don't know yet. So wrapping things up, based on the reveal, which I think was a pretty good presentation, Breakpoint has promised to improve on where Wildlands failed. A more survival, hardcore-based game with mechanics that were missing from Wildlands and much more of a narrative focus. And while the story isn't necessarily unique, a giant tech corporation go power hungry and rogue, it still offers up a unique environment, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing more gameplay and getting my hands on it and just checking out other parts of the map and how it all stacks up in reality. I will be at E3 this year, coming up soon in June, and I'm hoping that they'll have a playable build of the game there. I've got a pretty good relationship with Ubisoft, and usually they let me check out the games early, so hopefully I can get some direct capture over in Los Angeles of the game and give you guys some proper first impressions on how it feels and how it actually plays instead of the gameplay trailer. And that's all for today, guys. Do let me know your thoughts on Ghost Recon Breakpoint down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.
That was dope. Yeah, I'm definitely fucking getting that game, probably. I am definitely getting that game. Holy shit. It looks good. Honestly, it's just sort of like Division, but I feel like there's a lot more to do as far as like, you know, you have to make sure that your character is like, you know, well taken care of. And then you have to like make sure like how you approach enemies. I mean, in all honesty, it's kind of like the Division, but I don't know if it has the same type of like gadget mechanics that the Division has. Because, you know, the thing that I see the most out of this game is that you're more so taking care of the character than the actual, I don't know. It's like, you gotta worry about like, you know, you gotta worry about how much stuff you hold. You gotta make sure you heal properly, all this stuff. I would love to fucking stream this shit once I get a good desktop computer, hopefully. But yep. Let me know if you guys are gonna get Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I will probably get it, but until this comes out, I'm gonna probably try to get back into the Division 2 because I put it down for a little while and I'm gonna try to pick it back up soon. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next reaction video. Oh, and since this is Jack Frags' video, make sure you go follow Jack Frags in his channel because he got some good shit on there. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Peace!